Hey, Joe and Mama Fran. This is Susie McGee from Raleigh, North Carolina. I would love for you all to watch Derry Girls. It is on Netflix. It is about a 1990s Northern Ireland town called Derry. It's a coming-of-age story. It's a group of teenage girls plus a boy, and it's hysterical. I think you will both love it. It's short. The episodes are less than 25 minutes. Mama Fran, I'm sorry to say you should watch it with the closed captioning on. The dialogue is fast and so funny, and you'll miss something if you don't. I hope you guys watch it. I think you'll love it. Thanks.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, first of all, Susie, thank you so much for calling in that Let's Watch TV hotline. I do have to say this. Thank you for giving Mama Fran the heads up to watch the closed captions. Girl, I couldn't even watch this without the captions.
Well, first of all,
I started watching it without the captions, and then I turned the captions on, and I was like, oh, thank God, now I know what's happening. Because they're like, no.
First of all, Susie McGee. It figures, Susie McGee, that you would give us this one. It was good. I didn't need the captions. I was good.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I got it. I got it. It was good.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't get I didn't, literally, if I didn't have the captions, I would have been lost. There were so many times I was like, what the hell did I say? Yeah.
It was really good. Susie, you could not have picked a better one. Derry Girls on Netflix started in 2020 and it has 3 seasons. And exactly right. It's a teen high school movie show, but it's rated mature audiences, teen mature audiences, I think. And what really was fun to me is I went to Catholic school myself until, through my 10th grade year. And no matter what part of the world you're in, it's the same. It was so funny. It was very, very funny. The acting is phenomenal. These kids do a good.
I don't think they're kids.
Job.
I think they're adults,
not.
actually.
They're probably not. Such a good job. It was I watched season 1, episode 1, and it says there's a bomb scare on a nearby bridge, but the kids' names are Aaron, Claire, Michelle, Aura, and James, and they're facing something much more daunting than the first day of school, which is I could see myself. I could see myself because I was funny hell. It was funny than hell. The Claire was the short little one, and she's always hyper, and she's short and she's a little chunky. She reminded me of Aunt Helen.
Oh my God. And she was fasting. Okay, they all have their own little shit, but like this girl, she's fasting because she's raising money for a starving kid in Africa.
Yes.
So she keeps swatting food, and she's like getting hungry and hungrier and hungrier as the day goes on. It's so good.
Funny. But you know what? They talk about the Catholics versus the Protestants. That's just the way that is over there.
Very Irish, right?
I think to myself, my gosh, I've got to go in and see more of this because it's just so funny. And the one girl, Claire, didn't want to wear her vest to school, like her uniform. And she didn't want to put her vest on because she was going to be different this year. And her mom says, put on that vest. And she wouldn't. Finally, the mom goes, get me the wooden spoon.
I know. And then that was scene my mother walking in her uniform.
Yeah. They said, I thought you were going to, well, that didn't work. So funny.
Well, no, the line was so funny, is the girl shows up and she shows up first. She goes, I thought we were going to wear our jackets. She goes, well, if you're not going to wear your jacket, I'm not going to be unique by myself. And then she puts her uniform on. It's so funny.
But, I know there was something they were talking about was in miles. And they're going, well, how far is 25 miles? Right. And I'm laughing to myself because what is it? Kilometers where they live? It's not miles.
I can't do it.
So they're like, we couldn't figure out how far that was. That cracked me up. But the show, the characters, the central characters reminded me of the Pink Ladies in Greece. And when that Michelle came up and goes, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you too, I thought that is Rizzo all the way. They are the Pink Ladies because even that little Claire, what was her name? Claire, right. The little one. Is that her name, right, Joe? The little blonde?
I don't really. I am going to continue watching the series, but I only watched the first episode.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't really know their names
Yeah,
yet.
I think it's Claire. She's a short little blonde. She's so funny. She reminds me of what was her name? Started with a D in Pink Ladies. Duty?
I don't know.
Yeah, they all kind of resemble that sort of gangsta school thing in a Catholic atmosphere. It's
in an Irish setting.
Hilarious.
It is really funny too. What I really like about the way the show is written is they all have common ground. They're all students at this Catholic school, so they're all Catholic. They all go to school together. They're all friends. But every single character in this group is so contrasting from each other. They're just so different, and it works out really, really, really well. And then there's a boy, one of the lead girl, her cousin has to come live with them for whatever reason, and he's from London.
Right.
He's from England, and they think he's snotty or whatever. And they wouldn't let him go to the all boys school because he was from London. He'd get his ass kicked. So instead they worked it out with the school that he was going to go to the all girls school.
Right.
So right off the bat he has to pee. And everyone in the school is like, it's an all girls school. We don't have a boys' bathroom. So then he goes to the office, because we'll get into it, but they get into some trouble. And he's like, can I use the staff bathroom? Or the teachers are like, no.
Teachers, it was a nun.
He's like, no. He's like, well, what am I supposed to do? So as this day goes on, he has to pee. He's holding his pee longer and longer. And then something funny happens that we'll get to. But even him, such a contrasting character, and it's just good. Now, something cool happened when I was watching the show. There's this the lead nun, who I guess you would say is the principal or whatever.
Right, she's the principal.
Whoever that actress is, I had never seen her in anything before, except for, how I'm super into pottery now. She is the host of the Great Pottery Throwdown.
No kidding.
Yeah, which is pretty much like the Great British Baking Show, but of pottery.
Right.
And she's the host of it.
Oh my God. Well, she's hilarious. I related to everything. I related to, there was one scene where they all had to go to detention because something they did. We don't want to give everything away for anybody.
Yeah, we don't want to give it away, but they did something. Well, they
did something. They went to detention. Yeah. The nun is 95 years old that's sitting there watching the kids in detention. And Michelle, who's the Rizzo of them all, is putting on lipstick. And the nun walks over, give that to me. And she gave it to her. And then the nun opens her purse and puts it in her own purse. And she goes, the girl goes, shouldn't you be putting in that in the box?
The confiscation box?
The confiscation box? The nun goes, no. I go, that is, I saw that one time happen. I actually saw that one time happen. And it's like, they can get something. They're going to take it. Yeah, Catholic school is a whole different ballgame. Now, James, it was so funny when they were introducing James. She was introduced. Michelle is bawdy, mouthy, learned the word fuck them, and she goes, I learned this new word this summer, and that's all she ever used. She introduces her cousin James, and he's kind of my effeminate friend. And the kid is like, he's just quiet, right? He's not effeminate at all. He's just the boy in the all-girls school.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. And then when Claire was starving because she skipped her lunch, she was acting like she was...
You're okay.
She was in a starvation mode, and a nun or somebody was eating a sandwich, and she was going to grab it out of her hand. I am telling you, everybody, if you get a chance... You've got to watch the show Derry Girls. And if you need,
it's great.
If you need, put on closed caption because it's absolutely hysterical. And it reminded me of Catholic school. It reminded me of it all. Yeah, I always say I'm going to keep watching, and I have so many shows to keep watching. What was the last one? And I said, I am going to keep watching this. Oh, Farmer Has a Wife. I got to go back. I got to see it.
Me too.
It's like I don't have time to sit and watch all these shows, and they're so good. So I'm kind of marking them down because this is definitely
the funny thing. So I don't know if I ever told you this, but Morgan's mom and dad watch Bachelor in Paradise together, which is hilarious.
That is
right?
like Dirty Bachelor.
Dirty Bachelor, but they do. So then I text Morgan's mom and I was like, "Ooh, you got to watch this new show, Farmer Wants a Wife." And she goes, "Already watching it. Hey, this is about this girl. This is what I think." And she goes, "And what's her name doing hosting that show?" It was like, I don't know. It was hilarious. They had already watched it.
And Morgan's dad watches it with her?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That is so funny because that's so good.
I'm here in good old Austin, Texas, watching this. It's kind of weird because my body is all on West Coast time. I get to Texas, which is Central time.
Yeah.
I'm watching this Irish show, and then I get down to the lobby, and it's all Southern accents. I'm like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego right now? Like, what is my life? It's crazy.
Yeah. So what's going on your trip? Crazy. How things are going?
Oh my God. I am loving it.
Good.
I am loving it. I'm loving seeing all these new places. Austin's really cool. It's a very, oddly outdoorsy. I wasn't expecting that. It's like a Southern Seattle. It is funny because they do say that Austin's very liberal. And I think I'm going to say that's cute that they think that.
Why would you say?
I even said it on stage yesterday. I go, "Austin, now I know y'all think that you're liberal, but let me just tell you what, I live in Seattle. Right. So I'm just going to tell you, y'all ain't seen nothing." And I even did this joke where I said, and I was teaching in the middle of the pandemic. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Texas. So in 2020, there was this thing called the coronavirus, and then they all just started laughing about it too. But
good.
It is funny. I went to couple different comedy clubs when I first got here.
Good.
And this ain't Seattle anymore.
Really? Why?
This ain't Seattle anymore. They joke about real stuff, and everyone understands that it's in the constructs of joking.
Like
and
what?
The audience is just all topics that if you said in Seattle, they'd be down your throat for it.
Okay.
And honestly, there was only one joke that a comic said that I thought it was very obvious to me that he was a newer comic, and he was saying a lot of things not because he believed them, because he knew it would get a reaction. And he was saying them it just easy to me, easy jokes that I knew. And there was only one joke that he said that I was like, yeah, maybe that one's not good to say. But it other than that, I didn't think the things that they were saying were necessarily offensive. But sometimes in Seattle, even when you pick a topic, and you just dive your little nose into this topic, they hear the first words and they're just so triggered that you can't even talk about it on stage. It's you're not even taking the time to ingest this for what it is.
Is there other states that you've gone to that are like that?
That are like Seattle?
That you have to be careful?
I will say this. I think DC is even more uptight as an audience than Seattle. They're very and I'm just oh, please. But Seattle, DC is also funny too, because you see all these people coming from their political jobs and shit, and they're walking to work in the streets, but then I get home from the clubs at 2 a.m. and all these same people are just fucking hammered walking out of the bars and stuff like that. I'm oh, really? You're real keeping it together. So they have they're a stiff audience, tough nut to crack. I do like DC and I like performing there. Nothing against them.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel when I go there for sure. And then one of the best cities is Providence, Rhode Island, because they are a tough nut to crack too, but it's because they are not to be messed with. They're we want jokes, make us laugh, and they better be good, and don't give us this run of the mill. Don't give us this run of the mill baseline jokes that these hometown jokes that are going to work for you. Work for these laughs. They
really
make you work for and I actually love that.
Wow, it's interesting. Do you have to change your show for every city you go to?
No, I mean, you don't I don't change the meat of it, but Yeah, like you tailor it a little bit because of course you have to do local stuff at the top to make them feel like it's just like me inviting them in, like, hey, I've been here.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of my perception of you. Like,
Right.
it's funny. Let's laugh about it. And then like that gets that off the table. But then, I know in some cities I can go a little farther with this one thing, and other cities I might like tiptoe over this other. Like, for example, you all might know it by now. I have a joke about guns in schools. That's all I'm going to say because the joke is in the special. So I want you to hear the joke for the first time there. Okay. So I'm ready to do that joke, right? I'm on my way to Nashville. Boom, there's that crazy Nashville school shooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told myself, I was like, am I not going to do the joke? And then I thought, I really like the angle of the joke, and I really like the message within the joke and like of my stance on it, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna not do the joke. I don't think for a long time I thought maybe I just won't do that joke in Nashville, and everyone was telling me don't do the joke in Nashville. But what I did was I did the joke still, but I got into it right away, like immediately, instead of easing them into it, because I didn't want them to make up their mind that they didn't want to hear it. I wanted them to just be like, now you're hearing it and these are my thoughts on it, rather than like, I'm going to start talking about this. So if you're not into what I'm about to do, you can choose to not be into. I didn't give them the option.
Yeah,
and
right.
the joke went over very well. It went over really well, I thought.
Yeah, it did. I was in the audience.
So I'm glad I did it.
Wow, what a smart move.
So
people don't give comedians enough credit because number one, to be on a stage yourself and you're writing stories, writing jokes, that's not easy. And to be able to change on a dime, sometimes once in a while when Dad would see you and you would flip around on a dime, jokes in and out. Man, I don't know if I could do that. So all comedians, I think, are amazing people.
I met a few other comedians. Austin, big comedy town. Big time. Probably one of the most... Because you know what happened is during the pandemic, Texas was still open.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people from New York and a lot of people from LA all came to Austin, performers,
to run their
get
stuff.
Stage time here, and they ended up moving here, and they still live here. But so because of that, there are shows every night of the week and multiple shows. There's this one street here called 6th Street. There's about 5 or 6 comedy clubs in 2 blocks.
Wow.
And one of them's Joe Rogan's new club.
Oh, really? Did you go in there at all?
Past it. No, I didn't. So apparently they sell out every single night, and there's always a line down the street to get the last minute will call tickets.
Really?
And nobody ever gets them. Yeah, it's like always busy. It's big. It's a big space.
Does it have big?
And he's got big names.
Oh, he does?
Like
okay.
When I walked past it the other day, I asked who was on the lineup, and it was Joe himself and Russell Brand.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like,
okay.
Right. So I'm sorry. I think it was Russell Peters. And then
oh, okay, I know who that is too.
And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, oh, okay, like, so that's what's going down here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Well, it's so much fun. How's the food in Austin?
Great.
Yeah.
The portions are unbelievable.
Big?
The portions are unbelievable. I'm like, girl, who is eating this much?
Are you able to consume it all?
No.
Oh, wow. Then that's big.
Here's the other thing, too. Extremely fit city.
Really?
There is, like, people running at all hours of the day down this little... Do you want to hear the craziest shit about this city?
Yeah. Tell me.
There's this bridge here.
Yeah.
I got to look at the actual fact before I tell you some wrong information. How many under the bridge in Austin? Okay, right. There's this bridge here. It's the Congress Avenue Bridge, right? Underneath it, 1.5 million Mexican free-tail bats.
Oh, no.
And at night, they come out in these swarms every night, and then they come back in. So we took a boat tour to go see the bats, like up close and personal, right?
Ugh.
So this guy takes us on this boat tour, and he shows us all the architecture and tells us all about the buildings. It was great, but the whole time we're like, okay, we're here to see the bats. And then he goes to the bridge, and it's like getting dark, and there's no bats, and we're like, okay.
Where are they?
And he goes, yeah, so bats will die in bad weather because they're not waterproof and they get blown around in the wind too much. So when it's bad weather, they send like scout bats out to come back and tell them if it's good enough to go or not. And he's like, and as you can see, it's been bad weather in Austin, so they're probably not going to come. I'm like, you asshole, you knew this whole time that these bats were not going to come out. But we did see like clumps, like 100 at a time.
Was it true? Did you, or was he just full of poop?
No, he was true, and we did see bats because they would come out in like big clumps and then like go back in, but it wasn't like a swarm like he says it usually is.
Well, after
when we go under the bridge, he's like, "Look up, you can see." He's like, "But look up and cover your face."
Oh, after one flew into my hair one time, there ain't no way.
Oh my God, tell that story.
No. Well, I'm walking up.
Go ahead. I was little. I must have been like 8 or 9. I was open the door for you, and you're walking up to the front door after work, and all of a sudden you just start beating the hell out of yourself with your briefcase, just beating the hell out of your head,
screaming like a crazy
in your hair, and screaming. And I remember your body like ran into the bushes of the side road, and you're just beating the hell out of your head. And then we go, what happened? You're like, a bat flew into my head.
Well, we have bats in our backyard, and they stay in that what is that big red thing in the barn? They stay in that barn. But you can tell.
Okay, Dementia, seriously, you forgot what a barn is called? They live in that big red wooden building that's kind of like upside down U-shaped that you see on farms.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have weddings in them. One of those.
Well, the bats in the summertime swoop in our backyard. They don't bother you. They're just catching all the mosquitoes.
All them skaters. And that's what he said. He said because of all these 1.5 million bats, he's like, you're not going to get a lot of skaters when you're on these.
That's right.
When you're on these waters at nighttime. I
was
like,
listen.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you,
Linda.
Bless your heart. 30-second hot takes. Can we do it real quick?
Yep.
Joe, what did you watch this week that you want to share?
This week I watched. You know what I did watch a lot of this week?
What?
The Today Show.
Why?
Because it's on when I was like up getting ready and getting Mac ready for the day, and I've been watching the Today Show quite a bit, and I like it. I like the Today Show. It's good. Thumbs up for the Today Show. And I've also been watching for the past couple weeks.
You're getting old, man.
Yeah, well, this is really going to make me old. The past couple weeks, I've been watching Sunday Morning.
CBS Sunday Morning?
Yeah.
It's
great.
It is good. It's got,
great.
sometimes it sways for us, but it's good. And I love the end when they do that panoramic nature stuff. Oh, it's so cool. Well, good.
It's so cool. Oh, that's a funny thing too.
Yeah.
You know what else I've been watching a lot of?
What?
White noise videos on YouTube.
And why is that?
Because in this hotel, if Mac hears anything at night, he will bark, and I can't let him bark. So I turn on these white noise videos on YouTube of like rain, rainforest, waterfalls, all this, lots of rain, lots of water, lots of waves, and then I'll turn it on, but it's a black screen, so I can still sleep. It's just the sound. But then I'm waking up in the middle, I'm like, why do I have to pee?
I was going to say, at my age, at 68, if you put a waterfall, there'd either be a waterfall in the bed. Well, I got to be able to get to the bathroom fast enough. Dad and I would be up like a trampoline up and down all night long.
I do have to say, though, it really does calm him down quite a bit.
And it doesn't disturb you.
No, I can sleep through it, too.
You must have it on now.
rain pelting on a rooftop will put me to sleep.
Oh, I love that sound.
Like Seattle, it happens all the time, and I think it reminds him of living in Seattle, so he kind of like gets calm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, my 30-second hot take, we have been trying to finish up Ted Lasso. This last season of Ted Lasso. And Dad and I both agreed last night that I don't like this last season at all.
No.
I think
I haven't
that
started it, so no spoilers, please.
No, I'm just saying I think it focuses a lot on Keely. A lot.
Oh, that's my favorite character.
And it seems really slow, and it doesn't seem to have the substance it used to have. To me.
Well, that's probably why they ended it.
So that's what we've been finishing up, and we'll finish it to the end. We have a couple more to see, but that's what we did this week. So that's it.
That could be why.
Yep. 30-second hot takes. Boom, boom, boom.
30-second hot takes. We're more than great coats. Well, that's great, Mom. I love it.
Yeah. Well, you have a good show tonight.
Thank you for letting us watch Derry Girls, Little Miss North Carolina. That was very sweet, kind, and
Thank you,
supple.
Susie McGee.
Thank you kindly.
It's great. It was great to hear your voice too. We love hearing our fans' voices.
Yes, we sure do. All right, well, we will see you guys. We love you as always. If you become a Patreon member, you can tell us what to watch next time by becoming a Patreon member at patreon.com/Joe Dombrowski. That's patreon.com/Joe Dombrowski, patreon.com/Joe Dombrowski. The link to call the Let's Watch TV hotline's there for you. Become a member, call in, and tell us what to watch. We love you.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys next time on
Let's Watch TV.
Let's Watch TV. If you're watching on YouTube, that was apparently her prayer sound.